Good morning, Priscilla. Okay, you guys, while we're waiting for everybody else, check out what's above my head. Los profesores son estrictos. And you have three
Good morning,
questions.
Priscilla.
Okay, you guys, while we're waiting for everybody else. Sorry. Um, is this sentence masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, or feminine plural? How do you know? ¿Cómo lo sabes? How do you know that? Y ¿qué quiere decir? What does the sentence mean? Los profesores son estrictos. So you have three questions there, you guys. Get your answers together and pop them in the chat. Por favor, while we wait for everyone else. Is the sentence masculine singular, masculine plural, or feminine plural? How do you know? ¿Cómo lo sabes? ¿Y qué quiere decir? And what does it mean? And you just pop your answers in the chat. Los profesores son estrictos. What do y'all think? If you don't know, what are you supposed to put in the chat if you don't know? Is it masculine singular, masculine plural, or feminine plural? How do you know? ¿Cómo lo sabes? ¿Y qué quiere decir? What does the sentence mean? And if I didn't think you guys could answer this, I wouldn't ask you. So I'd like to see some answers in chat. Okay, Kimura. So how do you know and what does it mean? Good morning, Lay. Good morning, Kimura. Good morning, Carlin. Buenos dias. Kevin, Nikki, James, Akari, and Priscilla. I haven't heard from you. Good morning, Heaven. Very good, Kimura. Good morning, Heaven. Good morning, Carolina. Haley, ¿cómo estás? Aslan, how are you today? How you doing, Haley? ¿Qué tal? All right, you guys, we've got a couple of questions up here. Let's see what you can come up with. And remember, if you don't know the answers, just put IDK in the chat. Los profesores son estrictos. Is it masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, or feminine plural? ¿Cómo lo sabes? How do you know? What's the clue? ¿Y qué quiere decir? What does it mean? Pop it in the chat. Good, Priscilla. How do you know that? Good, Stacy. How do you know that? Stacy, how did you sneak in here? Buenos dias, Stacy. How do you know that? ¿Cómo lo sabes? What is the clue? Come on, you guys. You know the answers to this. We've been practicing all semester. See, Heaven. Good, Stacy. Yes, Priscilla. Muy bien. So what does it mean? What does the sentence mean? Is there a cognate in there anywhere? Word that looks familiar? What does the sentence mean, Aslan? Good, Heaven. Yep. And what does it mean, Heaven? Muy bien. Muy bien, Marilisa. Buenos días, Charlie. Good job. So how do you know? Is it masculine, feminine, singular, or plural? And how do you know? ¿Cómo lo sabes? Carlin, what do you say? Charlie, buenos días. What do you think, Charlie? And remember, if we don't know, then I need to know that. IDK. ¿Qué quiere decir, Carlin? Los profesores son estrictos. Gracias, Charlie. Anybody else? Haley, what do you think? Did you answer me, Haley? Did I forget that you answered me? What do you think, Haley? Hola, Dallas. Buenos días, Christopher. We need cameras, por favor. Okay, who can tell me if a word ends in O or if a word ends in A, right? We've practiced that. If a word ends in O, is it masculine or feminine? Tell me in chat, M or F. If a word ends in O, is it M masculine, F feminine? I want to hear from everyone. Okay, I want to hear from everyone. Charlie, Dallas, James, Akari. Okay. Aslan, good. All right. If a word ends in O, that tells us it's masculine. So we have estrictos up here with an O, right? We also have los with an O, right? Okay. If a word ends in A, then it's what? 9 times out of 10. If a word ends in A, it's what? Yep. Very good. It's feminine. So that tells me up here, you guys, for those of you who answered, I don't know, I hope you're listening. If we have los up here and we have, an O in los and an O in estrictos, then that tells me my sentence is masculine, right? That the professors up here are either all guys or guys and girls in a mixed group, right? Okay. Now, all of these words, los profesores and estrictos, have an S on the end. So does that make them singular? Do we have one of them? Or does that make it plural, multiple, more than one? Tell me S or P. If something has an S on the end, like los and estrictos and profesores, does that make it singular or plural? Charlie? Does it make it singular or plural? Akari, singular or plural? If something has an S on the end. Dog, dogs. Which one is plural? Thank you, James. Akari? Okay, plural. So the first answer, is this sentence masculine, feminine, singular, or plural? Well, we just said it's masculine because it ends in an O, and we said it's plural because it ends in an S. So the sentence is masculine and plural. Okay? So everything in my sentence here is masculine. Los profesores estrictos. Everything is masculine, right? Verbs like yo soy, tú eres, él es, they don't have gender. They're not masculine or feminine, but they are singular or plural. Remember, we have the two columns, singulars on the left and plurals on the right. And so our son is plural because all of the rest of our sentence is plural. Our adjective describing the professors is plural. So in Spanish, everything has to match. Okay. If the who or the what we are talking about, in this case, the professors, is masculine and plural, then so does the whole sentence need to be. If it's feminine and singular, then so does the whole sentence need to be. Okay. So if I were to change this, right? And let's say that all of the teachers were women, what would this sentence look like? Los would become what? Put it in the chat for me or unmute. Thank you, Heaven. Okay. Keep coming. Los would become what if the sentence all of a sudden was feminine? If all of the teachers were girls? Very good. Right. Okay. So it would become las, right? And so if they're all girls, profesor is still going to be plural. So that's going to stay the same. Our verb son means are. So that's going to stay the same because it's still plural. What would have to happen with estrictos? What would change there? What would it look like? Christopher, if we're going to feminine, los would become what, Christopher? Yes, estrictas would become, or estrictos would become what? Yeah, the O would become an A, right? So our sentence would become, and I'm going to put it in the chat. So you can see. Okay. All right, check it out. Las profesores son estrictas, right? The O's would become an A if all of the teachers in this case were feminine. Okay. All right. Any questions about that? All right. Good job. All right. So the last thing here, ¿qué quiere decir? What does this sentence mean? Los profesores son estrictos. What does it mean? I've just said it about 6 times. What does the sentence mean? Very good, Kimura. What does it mean? ¿Qué quiere decir? Dallas, Charlie, Christopher, Haley, Stacy, Lay, Akari. Is it singular, Christopher? Is it singular? There you go, Stacy. Good job. Is it singular? We just established it was masculine and plural, right? Okay. So what would the sentence be? Very good, Heaven. Good, Aslan. So what would the sentence be in English? What does it mean in English? I need y'all to join me on this ride. Okay, the professors are strict, right? Estrictos, it's a cognate. And that was also one of our new words from last class. Okay. The professors are strict, right? Because we have more than one professor, right? Right. The professors are strict. Okay. All right. Any questions about how we arrived at any of those things? Now would be the time to ask, because those things never go away. As you can see, we've talked about them all year so far, all semester, right? And all we're going to do is keep adding and adding to them. So it's the foundation of what we need to know, right? That's what you all keep hearing me say. All right. So what are we doing today? What we're going to do, you guys, yesterday we started with our or Monday, whatever day it was, we started some guided notes with like, we did our colors as describing words, right? And then we did things like tall and short, and we practiced those yesterday, okay? Today, we need to add our características físicas, right? Our physical characteristics. Do we have long hair, short hair, curly hair, straight hair, white hair, blonde hair, red hair, whatever, okay? So we're going to add some more physical characteristics, all right? So what I need for everybody to do is to access your guided notes from the other day. Give me 1 second and I will pull them up here so that you know what you're looking for. Our goal is to get the guided notes submitted before we leave today, okay? Our other goal is to be able to describe ourselves. So be thinking about that as we look at our words, okay? Again, if you were absent yesterday, we practiced these some more. Waiting on my computer. We are still in Unit 1. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so clase, take a look at my screen, por favor. Here are your guided notes. Right, toward the bottom. And then this was our VHL assignment. Kimura, when you get a minute, I need you to check that out. And then let me know if you need me to reset it. Okay. And I will do it at the end of the hour today. Okay. Okay, I will. All right, so opening up our guided notes. Y'all need to give me a thumbs up when you're there and you're ready to go. I need thumbs up. James, you ready? Kimura's ready. Heaven's ready. Nikki, you ready? Priscilla's ready. Marilisa's ready. Dallas. Charlie. Catalina's ready. Nikki, you ready? Okay, so it should look like this. We did all these. We're coming down here. We're going to do this group here. Okay, so once you get this typed in, all you got to do is submit, right? You guys, easy peasy stuff. Okay, that's like 3 points there. Okay, all right, I'm going to get my screen ready now. And remember that in your guided notes, you can always use the text box to add any notes to yourself, right? To help you remember certain things. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let me see who that is. Melanie. Hello, Melanie. We're finishing up our guided notes on characteristics, adjectives. Should be in your Canvas module toward the very bottom. All right, you guys. So if we have pelo largo, right, that means we have long hair. Okay, not large. This is a false cognate. Remember that large is grande. So remember we did grande, pequeño, right? Small and large. We did our opposites, okay? So if we have long hair or something that's long arms, long feet, I don't know, whatever, Okay. And notice we have the two forms, largo and larga. Our word for hair can be different depending upon like what Spanish-speaking country we're in. In class, we're going to use el pelo, right? El pelo is hair. And so it's masculine. So if we're going to describe our hair that's long, it would be largo, el pelo largo. Okay. Again, if I go too fast or if I go too slow, then you need to kind of speak up. Okay. Okay. If we have red hair, you guys, we are pelirrojo, pelirrojo, big old long word for someone with red hair. If we have white hair, we are canoso, el pelo canoso, or gray, yeah. And if we're bald, we are pelado or we are calvo. So please add these to your list. Pelirrojo, canoso, pelado o calvo. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's what I have on the screen. All you got to do is copy what I have up on my screen. Marlisa, ¿tú eres pelirroja? ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí? ¿Eres pelirroja? Sí, okay. So remember, you guys, that these are going to change, right? If you are redheaded, then pelirrojo becomes pelirroja, right? With an A on the end, okay? Now, if you say you have red hair and you're describing the hair, then because pelo is masculine, you would keep it pelirrojo, right? So you got to be careful. Okay. Clase, ¿quién es calvo? ¿Quién es calvo? Who's bald? Do you know anyone who's bald? ¿Quién es calvo? No? Anybody in your family bald? ¿Quién es calvo? Anyone? No? Mr. Clean. Ah, sí, Mr. Clean. Sí. Yeah. ¿Quién es canoso? Who's your dad? Ah, Carlin, muy bien. ¿Quién es canoso? Who is like white-haired or gray-haired and that you know? Santa Claus. Ah, sí. Santa Claus. Good answer. Muy bien. Okay, you all have those? I can go on? Oops. Well, now, let's just do it the hard way. Okay, so let's look at what these could look like, okay? We could say, ella tiene el pelo largo, okay? Literally, you guys, she has, right? So we will be practicing this verb, has, yeah? She has, obviously, long hair. Wouldn't you say, you guys, based on the image? Ella tiene el pelo largo. ¿Sí? Y esta mujer, ella tiene el pelo corto. So you guys, what is corto? What is corto? Based on the image. ¿Qué quiere decir corto? Short. Yep, short hair. Muy bien, short. All right, so she has short hair, right? Short, corto. And again, it's going to be corto with an O, right? Because we're describing pelo, the hair. We're not describing her, because if she was short, what word would we use? Remember alto? What was the opposite of alto? Clase, what was the opposite of alto? Bajo, right? Very good. So if we were talking about her height, right, we would say es baja, she's short, baja, right? But because we're talking about hair here, we're going to use corto, right? That it's been cut short. You with me? That's kind of the difference, okay? Okay, questions? All right, give me a thumbs up if I can go on. Bueno. Okay, I'll have to erase that. Okay. So we have brothers and sisters. Notice that our arrow is pointing to the little girl, right? And so es mayor, right? She's older, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, well, older, yeah. Mayor, okay? She's older. And because it ends in an R, if we were talking about more than one person being older, we would make it plural by adding an ES, right? We've talked about all these things before. So who remembers what is the word for young if you're young? What's our word for, we had young and we had old, remember? What is either one of those? Young started with the J. You should have your notes in front of you. So can you scroll in your notes? There you go. Hoven. Okay. Hoven was young. So what was old? What was old? Viejo or vieja. Very good. Okay. So again, we can't confuse the words, right? If we're saying that somebody's older, we're going to use mayor. Okay. Okay, if we're younger, this one's kind of easier to remember because it looks like minor, like being a minor, right? So menor or menores if we're plural, right? So again, as a reminder, you guys should have your vocab list open and you're adding these. Okay. Bueno, then we had fuerte, fuerte, meaning we have force, right? We are strong, fuerte. All right, so here's my question about fuerte. It ends in an E, right? So if it's a female who's strong, do we have to change this word at all? Kimura, good. Anybody else? No. Anybody else? If we're describing a strong female, this word ends in an E. Do we have to change the spelling at all? If you don't know, that's what you tell me. Don't leave me hanging waiting for answers. Okay? Keep coming. Okay, very good. Anybody else? If you don't know, that's what you need to tell me, people, so I can move on, right? I keep asking y'all the same questions because I'm not getting answers. If I got answers, then I could move on. Okay, so if it ends in an E, that'll never change, right? Like estudiante. The only time those change is if it's plural, then we would just add an S, right? So la mujer es fuerte, right? La muchacha, fuerte, es fuerte, okay? And same thing, el hombre es fuerte, the man. That one word is not going to change, okay? Okay. So let's take a look at this couple of images here. Make sure that you're adding the words in. We have delgado or delgada, which is something that is thin. Doesn't have to be a person. Delgado or delgada is thin. Again, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be a thing. And then we have gordo or gorda, which is chubby. Gordo or gorda is chubby. And, you know, we can describe a pencil being thin. We can describe our pet being chubby. Again, it doesn't have to be a human being, okay? Okay, Heaven. Gracias. All right, you guys. So, este niño, ¿cómo es él? Clase, ¿cómo es él? How would we describe him? Okay. ¿Es gordo o delgado, clase? Este niño con la hamburguesa. Sí, es gordo. Es gordo, sí. Okay. Y el otro es delgado. Sí, es delgado. Okay. Y los dos, both of them, you guys, what words do we know? Look at your vocab list. You should have it in front of you. ¿Cómo son ellos? What are they like? Let's describe them, los dos. Son jóvenes, son viejos, son bajos, son altos. ¿Cómo son? How can we describe these two? See, jóvenes, because we're talking about both of them. See, son jóvenes. See? What else? Sí, son bajos. Muy bien. Son amigos. Yeah, they're friends. Anything else? Sí. Ah, muy bien. Son morenos. Son morenos, right? They're darker haired, right? Son morenos, we could say. Sí. Tienen pelo corto, right? They have short hair. Tienen pelo corto. They have short hair. Anything else? Muy bien. Okay. All right. Good job. Let's go on. Let me erase my goodness here. Okay. So, Chris, this has your name on it, but we'll pretend that it's just anybody. All right. I want to hear from you. Clase, you should have your vocab list in front of you in the chat. ¿Cómo es él? How would we describe him? Is he blonde? Is he redheaded? Is he skinny? Is he tall? Is he short? Is he young? Is he old? ¿Cómo es él? ¿Cómo es el muchacho? Pop it in the chat. ¿Cómo es el muchacho? Yeah, es delgado, es alto. Try putting it in a sentence, you guys. We want to say he is. Es or LS. Alto, sí. Él es rubio. Muy bien. Right? Okay, so let me show you a little trick. Good job, you guys. Let me show you a little trick. Muy bien, Carlin. So this is a question, right? ¿Cómo es él? Remember when we did question words way at the beginning of the school year? If I want to answer this question, all I got to do is get rid of the thing that makes it a question. Are we listening? Yeah? Sí. Alto y rubio. Muy bien. So obviously the question marks. Yeah. Get rid of those. Obviously the question word, como. That leaves us with he is. Right? And so just like in English, right, where sometimes we have to flip-flop our letters, our words, I mean, all we do is he is, right? LS, just move the stuff around. Okay, and then you're answering in a complete sentence. Él es rubio. Él es joven. He's young. Él es un estudiante joven. He's a young student, right? Es un estudiante delgado. He's a skinny student. I mean, we can say whatever we want, right? We can be silly. Okay. All right. Muy bien. Let's try one more. Erase my messes. I can find my mouse disappeared. There it is. Okay. All right, clase, ella. ¿Cómo es ella? Tell me in the chat. In a sentence, por favor. ¿Cómo es ella? What's she like? Describe her, por favor. Bonita. Ella es bonita. Muy bien. Okay. Ella tiene, sí, ella es alta, huh, Stacy? Alta. Right? Morena. Delgada. We have to remember we're talking about a girl. So our words have to change the spelling, right, you guys? See. Okay, so we would say ella es alta, she's tall, right? Y tiene, she has pelo largo, right? Her hair is long. Pelo largo. See? Because we wouldn't say she's long, we would say she's tall, right? Ella es alta. El pelo, sí, el pelo es largo, right? Okay, muy bien. All right, anybody else? Okay, so good job, you guys. I'm glad you had so many of you had the courage to do that. That was good. Okay, I'm gonna erase, and we're gonna switch screens real quick. So let me stop sharing. Okay, all right, any questions, you guys? Okay, bueno. All right, take a look at these. We're going to talk about hair more specifically, y los colores, right? And so if I want to say I have, because remember our goal at the end of the class period today is to be able to describe ourselves. So, and other people, right? So if I want to say I have, like I have short hair, tengo pelo corto. Now, even though I'm a girl, once again, I'll say it again. If I want to say my hair is short, I'm describing my hair. I'm not describing me. Yeah. So, tengo pelo corto. I have short hair. I have short hair. Okay. Marilisa, ella tiene pelo largo. Marilisa, I'm just going to guess because I only see the top of your hair. Okay. Top of your head. Right. So, clase, yo tengo pelo corto. I have short hair. Pero Marilisa tiene pelo largo. She has long hair. Okay. James, clase. James tiene el pelo corto también. He also has short hair, right? James tiene. He has pelo corto, short hair. Okay. Tengo, I have. Tiene, he, she, or it has, right? Okay. So again, adding these if you don't have these already. Beyonce, clase, Beyonce, ella tiene el pelo castaño. Castaño is chestnut. In other words, light brown. Okay. So castaño is like chestnut hair or light brown. Ella tiene el pelo castaño. Cameron Diaz, is that her name, you guys? Ella tiene el pelo rubio. She has blonde hair. Rubio. We had that one already. Okay, so adding castaño, because I think we've already had rubio. Okay. Haley. Haley? Can you hear me, Haley? Can you hear me, Haley? See? ¿Tú tienes el pelo castaño? Do you have light brown hair? See? Okay, muy bien. Christopher? Christopher, ¿tú tienes el pelo castaño también? Do you have light brown hair also? See?
Brownish blonde.
Brownish blonde. Okay. Do we not have anybody blonde? Do we have anybody blonde? Carolina's blonde, isn't she?
Once you get me into light, you'll see a reddish tint to my hair.
Reddish. Okay. So tú tienes pelo, yeah, I guess it'd be rubio. Okay. Bueno. Stacy? Scylla, you got a hat on. I can't tell other than that. Dallas? Carolina, tú tienes el pelo rubio? Are you blonde? Dark blonde? Okay, so maybe pelo castaño, maybe more of a light brown. Okay. Bueno, all right, let's see what else we got on tap here. Oops, let me erase. Okay. Ella es pelirroja, clase. She's a redhead. Ella tiene el pelo rojo, right? So again, looking here, if we're talking about her, okay, this is a subtle difference. If we're talking about her, we're describing her, we're saying she's a redhead. Well, because she's a girl, it's pelirroja. That spelling is going to change, right? But if we're saying ella tiene el pelo rojo, she has red hair, because here we're describing the hair, which is masculine. So then red is going to stay masculine. So we have to be careful. Are we describing the person, right? Or are we describing, like in this case, the hair, or the eyes, or the whatever? Okay. All right, a few more. Okay, if we have black hair, ella tiene el pelo negro, right? Remember the color black? Ella tiene el pelo negro. Okay. See? I used to have black hair. Right? Then it became white. All right, then we have our calvo, que no tiene pelo. And we have ella, que tiene el pelo canoso, right? She has grayish white hair. See? Canoso. Okay. Bueno. All right. I'm going to switch my screen. Okay, so here's your job. If you have everything filled in, then what you need to do is submit. Submit your guided notes so you can get your points. And while you're doing that, I'm going to pull up my next screen. Okay. Menor is a minor, like if you're younger. If you're younger, mayor was the older sibling, menor was the younger sibling, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Give me a second, you guys. I need to pull up, make sure that you're submitting. If you have a blank, let me know. It's 20 points. And remember that we all have until the 17th to get our work turned in. So you want to make sure you take the opportunity now to submit those. All right. I'm waiting for my computer. I apologize. Slow going. Or my snow is melting though here today. Got down to about 7 degrees last night. Can y'all believe that? 7 degrees. Okay. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you managed to submit your guided notes today. You can do it in the chat. You can give me a Zoom thumbs up. Thank you, Marilisa. Thank you, Kimura. Anybody else? James, did you submit your notes? Dallas? Carolina? Nikki, did you get them sent? Yeah? Stacy? Okay, I have a short video for us, and I need you all to pay attention. This is basically just a reminder. Sometimes it helps hearing it from somebody other than me. And then we're going to do some practices together. And then that should take us to closer to the end of the hour. And you guys are going to need to describe yourselves, okay? All right, so make sure that you can hear this video and make sure that you can see the video, por favor. All right, here we go.
Buenos días. Today, we're going to review how adjectives are formed and used with the verb ser to describe people. Adjectives, los adjetivos, perform the same function in English and Spanish. They are used to describe traits and different aspects of people, places, and objects. A tall boy, un chico alto. A modern university, una universidad moderna.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there 1 second. So, Scylla, what do we notice in English versus Spanish about where the words go, the word order? What do we notice, you guys? What do we see?
In English, when we're describing someone, we put the describing word in front of the person we're describing.
Exactly.
And in Spanish, we put the describing word at the end of what we're describing.
Exactly. So, you know, we don't say a boy tall, right? We say a tall boy. So in English, right, our describing words, our adjectives always go in front, but in Spanish, we got to flip-flop, okay? Most of them, not all of them, right? Most of them, not all of them. Okay, let's go on.
An interesting book. Un libro interesante. Notice any differences? In English, the adjectives precede the nouns, but in Spanish, the adjectives follow them. Spanish adjectives must match the gender, masculine or feminine, and the number, singular or plural, of the nouns they describe. Adjectives whose basic singular form ends in an O will change the O to an A in the feminine form. Un chico alto. Una chica alta. Adjectives that end in an E or in a consonant have only one form in the singular. Un niño inteligente. Una niña inteligente. Un hombre mayor. Una mujer mayor. To make adjectives agree with plural nouns, add an S to adjectives that end in a vowel or ES to those that end in a consonant. El estudiante guapo. Los estudiantes guapos. La estudiante amable. Las estudiantes amables. El profesor joven. Los profesores jóvenes. To make a sentence describing someone, use the verb ser. El profesor es joven. Las estudiantes son amables. Remember that the adjective must still agree with the noun, even though the verb separates the two. Yo soy baja, morena, y simpática. All singular feminine adjectives because...
Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. Remember, you guys, one of your jobs today is to describe yourself. So in this sentence, yo soy baja, morena, y simpática, are we describing a male or a female? Tell me M or F in the chat. Are we describing this person talking? They're describing themselves. Are they male or female? Female, right? We know that because it's baja, morena, and simpática, right? So who can tell me, what does yo soy mean?
I am.
I am. So before we get out of here today, you guys are going to need to be able to describe yourselves, okay?
they refer to me. El señor Beltrán es alto, serio, y muy inteligente. And that's why he teaches calculus. Los adjetivos son fáciles. They're easy, don't you think? I'll see you soon. Nos vemos pronto.
All right. Hold on one second. Stacy, there should be just a submit button. Did you scroll down in Canvas? Okay. All right. That's sometimes, like I said, it's helpful to hear it from somebody else, right? Okay, next best thing. Now we're going to do this together. Okay, guys, because we do it together first all the time, you know, and then you guys have to do it on your own at some point. So we're going to practice a little bit. All right, give me a second. Okay. All right, so let's just do, of course, we don't do all of these, right? That's why it's so important for you guys to participate, because we're not going to do all 10. Okay. So we have a note here. El chico alto becomes, if we made it plural, los chicos altos, right? Or la chica alta, it's for feminine. And if it was feminine and plural, las chicas altas, okay? Again, notice that your adjective comes after whatever we're describing, okay? So these are not complete sentences, right? We're not saying the student is blonde. We're saying the blonde student, right? The tall doctor, okay? Everybody with me on this? Yeah? These are not complete sentences, okay? So if I wanted to say the blonde student, all right, then here's the trick. Estudiante ends in an E. So my question to you is, why is this in the feminine? Why is this rubia? How do we know that the student is a girl? How do we know that the student is a girl? Good, Heaven. Good, Kimura. Anybody else? If you don't know, you don't know. That's what you need to tell me. Haley, how do we know that this student is a girl in number 1? How do you know that though? How do we know to make the rubia feminine? How do we know that? There you go, Marlisa. Right. Yeah, but how would we know that? Like if this word wasn't, how do we know to make it rubia and not keep it ruvio? You understand what I'm asking? Yeah. What tells us that? What is the clue? James, what tells us that? Right. Exactly, you guys. Because of law. This tells me that estudiante is a feminine and that if I want to say that she's blonde, the blonde student, this tells me that this needs to be feminine. Okay. Right. All right. What if I wanted to make it plural? What would I do here? Can you pop it in the chat? How would I say no, we're not going to say add an S. Add an S to what and where? Okay. So how would I say the blonde students? I need to make it plural. What do I do? Good heaven. Almost, Lay. Almost, Kimura. This is why we got to practice in our scrap paper, and this is why I need to hear from everyone. Yeah, Christopher, except we're saying she's a girl. We're in number 1. You're right, but it has to be feminine, right? James?
You were talking about
Dallas?
more than one student.
I'm sorry, what? What'd you say, Christopher?
I said you were talking about more than one student, so I put it los estudiantes.
Yeah, except we're working on you're right, but we're working on number 1. How would I make it plural? Stacy, did you answer me? Nikki, Akari, Priscilla? Is that it? Is that all I would change, James? So just put it all together for me in the chat. What would it look like? Rewrite la estudiante rubia as plural. What would it look like? Okay, so yes, it would be las estudiantes rubias. Everybody see what we're doing? Our la has to become plural. Our estudiante has to become plural. Our rubia has to become plural. We're not making full sentences here. We're saying the blonde student. That's it. It's not meant to be a full sentence. Okay? Right, you guys? Everybody clear about what we're doing? Okay. All right. Because we said we were going to skip around too. So we need to pay attention there. All right, let's look at número 4. Okay. La escuela grande. How would we make la escuela grande plural? So you're going to rewrite it as plural. What would we do? In number 4. La escuela grande. I need to hear from Charlie. I need to hear from Melanie. I need to hear from Dallas, Stacy, Haley, Carolina, Akari. Heaven, that's perfect. Kimura, perfect. Lay, perfect. How would I do it, you guys? If you don't know, then that's what you need to tell me, please. Don't make me wait. Well, here's a clue here too, right? These are going from singular to plural. Almost, Stacy. Good, Priscilla. Okay, anyone else for number 4? All right. La becomes las. Escuela, very good, Melanie, becomes escuelas, and grande becomes grandes. Right? Okay. All right, let's skip down here to número 8. So, el doctor auto. Can you tell me in chat, M or F? Is it masculine or feminine? Number 8. El doctor auto. It's masculine. Okay. So it's masculine and singular. How do we make it plural? How would we make it plural? How would we make it more than one? Now we have a trick here because doctor ends in an R. So see if you can remember that pattern or that rule. Heaven, that's perfect. Melanie, that's perfect. Marilisa, perfect. We want to say the tall doctor, but we want to make it the tall doctors, plural. Give it a try. I need to hear from everyone. If you don't know, then that's what you need to tell me, please. Close, Priscilla. We're not adding or changing. We're not adding any words, right? We're just taking what we have and making them plural. Okay. And you have a kind of a cheat sheet up here for you to look at. Anyone else? Nikki, did you try this one? James, did you try this one? All right, well, let's see what we remember. All right, so check it out, you guys. El becomes los. Doctor, because remember, if it ends in a letter, we add an ES to make it plural. So doctores and then altos, the tall doctors. Okay, so doctores, like profesor became profesores, right? We have to try to pay attention to those patterns all the time. That's the whole point, you guys, of this, right? We have to get used to the pattern, okay? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this and let's take a look at what we have to do here. So our instructions say, and again, we're not going to do all of these, write the correct form of the adjective. So remember, we always have to think about masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. That is our guide for everything. So number 1, if it's la chica, la is feminine, chica is feminine. What happens to Rubio? Very good, Lay. It becomes what, you guys? It's going to become rubia. Right? Okay. So, see, with that in mind, okay, let's do número 2. How would you fill in the blank? Número 2, el chico. Perfect, Melanie. Perfect, Lay. Perfect, Kimura. Marilisa, muy bien. Yeah, so because it's already masculine, you got right, you guys, and that's always our default, it's going to stay that way. Okay? the brown-headed boy. Okay. All right. How about número tres? The young men. Los hombres. We're on number 3. Joven, young, the young men. Very good, Kimura. The young men. Marlisa, muy bien. Muy bien, Heaven. Good, Melanie. Good, Marlisa. Anybody else? Los hombres joven. So you guys, oopsie, it's going to be jóvenes, right? Because joven ends in a letter, not a vowel. So we just add an ES. Okay. All right. One more here because we are about out of time today. So let's do número 7. Let's do número 7. Number 7. Good, Kimura. Good, Heaven. I want to hear from everyone, please. Good, Melanie. Haley, how about you, Priscilla? Good, Priscilla. Perfect. Nikki? Muy bien, Marilisa. Christopher? So if it's singular, la chica, right? Singular and feminine, then everything needs to be singular and feminine, right, you guys? So la chica bonita. La chica bonita. We have one girl. We just need to make bonito, bonita. Okay, questions? No questions. All right. Last thing we're going to do today is this. I am going to put a link in the chat. I need everybody to join us real quickly. This is something that you're going to do on your own. It's kind of a sort of a comprehension check for me. See what you know, what you don't know. So it'd be it's like our exit deal for the day. Okay, you guys, so click on that. And it should look like this. Right? So on the left-hand side, you're saying I am, and on the right-hand side, you're saying you're not. So your job then is to choose the adjectives that you want to use, and then you need to make sure if they're masculine or feminine. And make sure you submit so I can get it in my Nearpod report. Okay, I have 9 people in and there are 14 of you. So come on, you guys, we have about 3 minutes. Let's join in. If you want class to go faster, the easiest thing to do is to respond. Yeah, even if your responses are wrong, even if you don't know. If you want class to go faster, then I need to know that you're with me and that you're understanding or that you're not understanding. All right, I need 4 more. So you're going to use the text tool. Yeah, you guys, your annotation tool. And you should be able to, when you click annotate. If you can see my screen, Marilisa. There's a text box.
For me, we don't have that at the bottom.
You don't have that?
It's not letting us. It's not letting me do it.
Yeah,
Click
for us,
anything.
for
All right, do
us,
you have a-
it's just showing
all
us the paper. Since you're the teacher, it lets you annotate.
So basically, what you're writing on there, I can see on my screen, on my end.
But it's not going to let you guys do it. Okay.
No.
Yes.
All right. That's cool. All right. Well, then that's it for today. We're out of time. So, yeah, if you have a question, I would encourage you guys, make sure that you are checking VHL. I did assign you a VHL earlier in the week. Ellos son interesantes. You want to make sure that you get that figured out. Kimura, I will help you there. Okay. Clase? Anyone else? Make sure you guys that there's all your work is turned in by the 17th. And then just a reminder on Tuesdays at 1:45, I have office hours. So if you need help with something or getting something caught up, then you need to kind of let me know. Okay. Okay. All right. Adios a todos. Have a great rest of your day. Adios. Good job.
Adios.
Adios. Good job today. Gracias.
De nada.